His title is, Are Chimpanzees People? He'll be speaking for 5 to 7 minutes. We're looking forward to hearing some fascinating facts from Freeman. But what is it that makes Freeman especially qualified to talk about this topic? I asked him that, and he informed me that for the past 33 1/3 years, he, Freeman Wicklund, has been a primate, a great ape, and a person. All of these roles he feels help qualify him to give today's speech. Are chimpanzees people? Put your hands together.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and guests. Lucy is a chimpanzee who was raised by an American family and taught sign language. Once, while flipping through some pictures, she came upon one of a chimpanzee. Looking at it intently, she signed, "What's that?" Good question. Many countries and scientists have been grappling with this same question. What are chimps? They're also asking, where do they belong in our moral circle? Today, I will share with you some ideas and information behind this discussion. To start, consider the question posed in the title of this speech. Are chimpanzees people? The answer to this depends on how you define people. The Oxford American Dictionary defines people descriptively as human beings. Yet Chief Oren Lyons of the Onondaga Nation has a more qualitative understanding of this word. He says, the more you look at animal eyes, the more you begin to perceive them not as animal eyes, but as the eyes of other people. So we call all animals people. Many scientists who study chimps, like Jane Goodall and Roger Fouts, also see chimps like people. They have joined the Great Ape Project, which declares, quote, "We demand an extension of the community of equals to include all great apes, human beings, chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, and orangutans." Are chimps part of a community of equals with us? We do have many similarities. 98.4% of our DNA is identical with that of chimps. In fact, chimps have more genetic material that they share with human beings than they do with gorillas. In our past, we defined humans as humanity defined ourselves as tool makers. Then Jane Goodall watched two chimps fashion twigs so they could effectively fish termites out of a mound. When Louis Leakey heard that Jane witnessed chimps making tools, he said, "Now we must redefine tools, redefine man, or accept chimpanzees as humans." Our knowledge of chimps has continued to grow. They have demonstrated language, community politics, and ethics. Given how human-like chimpanzees are, it's not surprising to learn that the word chimpanzee, which is derived from a Congolese dialect, actually translates to mean mock man. Chimpanzees even have a culture. This means knowledge is passed down from generation to generation. For example, Ivory Coast chimps teach their young how to use a rock and a flat stone as a hammer and anvil to crack open kula nuts. West African chimpanzees teach their young which plants to use for medicinal purposes, and the Mende people have discovered new medicines by aping the apes. But are chimps people? Maybe we should ask them. Roger Fouts is a professor of psychology who teaches chimpanzees to speak using sign language. The chimps he worked with were raised in homes by human families. One chimp, named Vicky Hayes, sorted photographs into two groups, humans and other animals. When she came up to a picture of herself, she put it in the pile with Dwight Eisenhower and Eleanor Roosevelt. Although she saw herself as human, the picture of her chimpanzee father, whom she had never met, was placed in the pile with the cats, dogs, and horses. Another chimp, Allie, was also raised by an American family and taught sign language. He had never met another chimp until Roger Fouts took him to an island where other signing chimpanzees lived. Roger said Allie was, quote, like a kid visiting the zoo for the first time. Allie pointed and gawked at the other chimps, excited and amused by them. But the second time Allie visited Chimpanzee Island, a chimp named Washoe signed him a greeting. Roger described Allie's response like this, quote, he froze like a statue, staring at Washoe the way you might if you encountered a talking dog, unquote. Allie then let out a blood-curdling scream and had a full-blown panic attack. In the days and weeks that followed, he developed hysterical paralysis in his right arm, coupled with severe depression. He stopped eating, he stopped signing, he started to pull his own fur off his body. Roger believed Allie's psychological meltdown resulted from a severe identity crisis. In that moment, Allie realized he was not human, but rather one of those funny animals he saw on the island. Roger had seen too many chimps die of depression, so he prescribed an aggressive form of touch therapy. It took 2 months of constant companionship, loving attention, and holding Allie during all of his waking moments before his behavior returned to normal. Some countries have taken the idea that chimps are people, or that they deserve basic legal rights very seriously. In 1986, the United Kingdom banned experimenting on chimps and all great apes. The British Home Secretary said, quote, this is a matter of morality. The cognitive and behavioral characteristics and qualities of these animals mean it is unethical and to treat them as expendable for research, unquote. New Zealand, Sweden, Japan, and other countries have also banned or severely restricted the use of chimpanzees in research. Here in the US, 1,300 chimpanzees are caged and confined for the purposes of being experimented on. So what do you think? Are chimpanzees people? Do their intellectual, social, and emotional lives make them deserving of basic rights to life, liberty, and freedom from torture? And if we continue to allow chimps to be confined and experimented on, what does this say about us as a people? As you ponder these questions, I leave you with one last thought. Whenever Lucy the chimpanzee saw a human who was sad or disturbed, she wrapped them in her arms and gave them a kiss. Mr. Toastmaster.